Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Texas Podcast. I am your host, Gabe, and today we'll be talking about the First Battle of Sabine Pass. The First Battle of Sabine Pass, which took place on September 24th through the 25th, 1862, also known as the Bombardment of Fort Sabine, was the first American Civil War bombardment by the United States Navy of a Confederate fort below Sabine City, which is now Sabine Pass, Texas. It was the apex in a series of naval and land skirmishes around the mouth of the Sabine River, Texas, and preceded by 4 weeks the Union Navy's first armed entry into Galveston Bay, called the Battle of Galveston Harbor. Besides strengthening the Union naval blockade to the Texas coastline, the shelling and capture of Sabine Pass was to deter Confederate ground forces from moving southwestward on the Texas coast to augment Galveston defenses. It was intended to open the way for the Union invasion of Texas, which almost a year later was attempted by a combined force of Union naval and Army forces at the Second Battle of Sabine Pass. Sabine Pass is the waterway serving as the outlet of the Sabine Lake and estuary formed by the confluence of the Neches and Sabine rivers. The port of Sabine City was connected by a rail spur to the rail line running from the eastern border of Texas to Houston and Galveston. Although the port and entrance of the pass over the bar was shallow, it served coastal trade and increasingly blockade runners. In September 1862, the commander of the West Gulf Blockading Squadron, Rear Admiral David Farragut, encouraged Master Frederick Crocker and the steamer USS Kensington to capture the port. Farragut assigned acting Master Quincy Hooper in the schooner USS Rachel Seaman to assist. On September 23rd, the vessels arrived off of the pass and were joined by acting Master Lewis Pennington in the mortar schooner USS Henry James. The captains conferred and determined that they would not attempt to get the deep draft Kensington over the bar, but instead would use the schooners to make the attack. Late that afternoon, the Rachel Seaman made it over, but the slightly deeper draft Henry James became stuck when the tide fell. The morning of September 24th revealed Pennington's ship stuck in the mud within sight of the fort. Pennington ordered his vessel to fire, and it was soon joined by the Rachel Seaman. The Confederate artillerists responded, but their shots fell short, as did most of the naval gunfire. After 5 hours, the Henry Jane was freed from the muck and entered the pass. Both schooners maneuvered to within 1.5 miles of the fort and began firing at 5:30 p.m. Confederate forces numbering 28 artillerists manning the artillery batteries, additionally supported by 30 cavalrymen, were unavailable to effectively return fire as the outdated guns were unable to reach the Union vessels. They took shelter and re-emerged as night fell and the bombardment ceased. After inspecting the damage, the Confederate commander, Major Joseph S. Irving, ordered his artillery spiked and then retreated during the night. Since the fort ceased fire during the day, Crocker attempted to take the fort that evening using launches, but was unable to locate a passage through the large oyster reef which divided the channel. The next morning, September 25th, Crocker fired 3 rounds into the fort with no response, then went ashore to find the fort deserted. He walked towards Sabine City and was met by a delegation announcing the town's surrender. This was the first major Texas city captured by the Union. Neither side reported suffering any casualties. On September 27, 1862, 3 boats with 32 men traveled up the Sabine River 12 miles near the mouth of Taylor's Bayou and attempted to destroy a railroad bridge, but after they left, the bridge was saved. During the period between the 27th and the end of the month, Crocker and Kensington captured the British schooner Velocity, and Hooper and the Rachel Seaman captured the schooner Dart. On October 3, 1862, Crocker captured the blockade runner Dan on the Casco's Pass and used it to travel back up the Sabine River to destroy the railroad bridge. Crocker was promoted to the rank of acting volunteer lieutenant for gallant conduct in the Sabine Pass and Casco's Pass operations by Admiral Farragut. When intelligence reports indicated that there was a large Confederate army preparing to counterattack, Master Hooper, then in command of the place, withdrew the Rachel Seaman across the bar and back into the Gulf, abandoning the city and Fort Sabine, thus returning Sabine Pass, the lake, and the river to Confederate hands. That is all for the First Battle of Sabine. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.